Hello and welcome to Trashy Trashy, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and a look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica, and I am your host.
And my name is Cassandra, and I'm your other host. And I have some neighbors running through the hallway loudly right now.
Ooh, that's always fun.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I agree.
I like to think that, like, if you can't hear your noisy neighbors, you are the noisy neighbor.
Interesting. It's like, who smelt it dealt it, maybe?
A little of that.
I guess that's the opposite.
Everybody is somebody's upstairs neighbor in some way, you know?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm great. I had my first in-person poker night session last night.
Ooh.
And I recently canceled a trip to Las Vegas because of the Delta variant. And so I decided to bring Las Vegas to poker night.
Ooh,
and I donned
that's fun.
my shiniest white caftan from Shein because I'm garbage and shop there, and the biggest gold earrings I could find. And I showed up like a out of work Vegas showgirl.
Oh, I love that. I call that casino chic.
It was very casino chic.
Yeah, it's loud. It's loud in some way, but comfortable because you're gonna be sitting. Yeah.
I do Vegas. I'm in it for the long haul.
Sure, absolutely.
How have you been?
Well, I flew home from Texas on Monday, caught myself a little bit of a cold, which is not a good thing. But I've been tested multiple times, and I feel safe to report that my partner and I have not had breakthrough infections. We just have your standard run-of-the-mill shitty cold. But on that flight home from Texas, Erica, we got upgraded to first class, which happens sometimes because my partner's very good at like working that system. He's just one of those kind of like, can just,
like
I don't know, like
Sky.
Yeah, like some people just know how to do that shit. So he's one of those people. But this plane, so it came from Paris, and it was connecting in Dallas, and then it needed to go to Los Angeles, which means this was an international plane, which means those first class upgrades got us those lie flat seats.
Oh, shit.
I have never in my life sat in a seat like that. It was I was like full Beverly Hillbillies up there. I was like, look at this. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, baby, look. And he's like, I know. Because he's like sat in seats like that. Well, I never have. I never rode in first class until we started dating in general. But like, I was like, oh my God, the tray table comes to me. And oh, look at how big the TVs are. Like, it was great.
That's incredible. Have I told you that I am literally related to the Beverly Hills Clampetts in a way?
No, but I believe it.
Yeah. My step-grandfather is a Clampett, and his brother started a branch of the family in California, like moved from Oklahoma and settled in California.
Spreading seed.
I am literally a descendant in some way of a Beverly Hills hillbilly, the Clampetts.
I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. So it was very cool. I was going to hoard it this week, but I realized that hoarding something like lie flat first class seats is horrific.
Yeah.
Like when we go from like, oh, watch this on Netflix, or like, don't buy this product because we don't like it, to like being like, y'all should spend $1,500 on a seat. Like,
yeah.
Because I did it. I got upgraded. So, anyways.
I bought a credit card, or I got a credit card specifically for the opportunity one day to get a lie-down seat on an international flight. Like if you get so many points, accrued. And my sweet aunt and uncle took me to lunch, and they were like, we'll buy lunch. And I was like, no, let me buy lunch, I genuinely wanted to buy lunch as the gesture. And so I was like, I get the points, let me, that's always like my excuse if I want to pick a checkup is like, oh, let me get the points.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, only if we hand you cash. And I'm like, no, let me buy you lunch. But bless their heart, they gave me cash.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's a good way to get points is on someone else's dime.
So I got them sweet American Express points and had a wonderful lunch. But enough about me. Why are you trash this week, Cassandra?
I have a historical trash.
Oh.
My second car that I ever had, it was like my senior year of high school, and then after high school, I drove a Ford F-150 truck. And there was a time when I was like I left LA for a couple months and went to Colorado just to kind of see if that worked better for me. Spoiler alert, it didn't. I came back to LA and I loved to do donuts in that truck.
Yep.
I don't only on the ice too. I don't know how to do a donut in a car or like make it an effective, like fun way to do a donut. But when you hit ice just right, I don't even know if that's a donut. I was hitting ice weird to make my truck spin out.
Yeah.
And this became some sort of like, what do you want to do tonight? Like, oh, well, we should like drink and maybe take the truck to like a parking lot and do donuts, which like, because there's not a lot of weight in the back of the truck, so it's easy to spin out. I think about this now and I'm like horrified. Like, we could have gotten so hurt. One time I tried to spin out because I was trying to impress the guy that I was with. I tried to spin out while I was also going down a hill. And like got
God.
like I know. I'm a fucking idiot. And I got like a whisper, like inches away from crashing through someone's fence.
Oh my God.
It's fucking chaos. Cut to me now. I don't even like to drive in the fucking rain. And I probably because of this. Probably because I know the dangers of driving. Like I can't do it. So I'm just like, the things that I used to do when I was younger, fearlessly, you couldn't pay me to do it now. If a car started spinning out, like even when a car hits ice, I'm like, ah! Like I can't. Yeah. So why are you trash?
Well, before I get into my trash, I want to tell a story about my grandpa, Ronnie.
Okay.
My curry grandpa.
Sure.
Who would be simultaneously like reading a newspaper, pouring a cup of coffee as he was turning.
Oh my God.
He never quite paid attention to the road in any way. And one time he was pouring a cup of coffee and the canister slipped underneath the brake.
Oh no.
As he was pulling into a garage to get it serviced with my little sister in the car. And he was trying to like, hit the brake as they were approaching like a wall. And she said it was like an inch.
Oh
and he
my
finally
God.
got the car to stop and then just never spoke about it. And Jessica's like, this is how we die. Like,
oh my God.
And that was just like par for the course. When I was 12 or 14, I milked for my grandpa Ronnie because he owned a dairy. And he would pick me up in the morning on his paper route because he had a dairy, a farm, a paper route. Like he never was not working in some way. And yeah, he'd be, sliding across the road in the 1.5 miles from my house to the dairy, hitting people's mailboxes for these newspapers. And I attribute my distracted driving that I feel like I'm pretty good at to the genetics of Ronnie Curry.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty chaotic. And it just like, it makes me think of like those times when like, because you can be having a great time in the car and then this is LA, like someone else, maybe like another driver will do something that makes the car that you're in have to react in a certain way. And it's just like, it just makes me think like in a way that I haven't before about like how many like near death experiences I've shared with like my friends, like, but you don't even think about it that way because it's like, it's LA.
Right.
But like nothing will silence a car like faster than like almost fucking dying. But nobody ever brings it up. Nobody ever talks about it. It's just kind of like, asshole.
Yes. Yeah. You just kind of bury it deep down because if we acknowledge the trauma, we would never drive again in this city.
No, you have to like, it's just like, it's like you can hear everyone just kind of swallowing it and not ever, and like just like gonna let that one, take a year off my life down the road, but I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna see if anyone's okay. All while just like your radio's still like, one to pick up the phone. Like, it's just so weird. Why are you trash though?
Well, in college, I had what some might call a bit of a drinking problem.
Sure.
And one time at a chain restaurant.
Are you protecting that chain or that you won't name it?
Yeah, I'm protecting the chain. No.
I want to protect the identity of the chain restaurant.
I believe it was an Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
Or a Texas Roadhouse.
All right.
The two get conflated in my head and I get confused.
That's fair.
I asked for a to-go cup for my margarita. And this is in Oklahoma where you can't take alcohol you can't have alcohol in a bar hardly.
Oh.
Like they've got the strictest. In our county, you couldn't buy liquor on Sunday.
Ugh.
It was 3-point beer. And I asked for a to-go kitty cup. And the waitress was like, ma'am, I can't let you take your margarita out of the restaurant. I was like, how did she know? How did she know?
Oh, it was just for water. That's funny.
Yeah. So I was reminded of trying to take a to-go margarita. But you know who also loves a chain restaurant?
Naked Florida woman?
That's right. According to our first story from boingboing.net.
Naked Florida woman on a rampage in Outback Steakhouse. Hey, that could have been you, Erica.
That literally could have been me. There's no evidence as to what set off 53-year-old Tina Kindred at the Outback Steakhouse in Ocala, Florida. But when the police got there, she started whipping liquor bottles at them and speaking incoherently, all without clothes on. Kindred managed to cause a few $1,000s worth of damage, according to the police, before being tased and taken into custody.
Wow. I mean, where'd she get the liquor bottles?
I think she, was at the bar, grabbing them from the bar. I don't think she brought in liquor. I think she was doing Outback Steakhouse's liquor bottles at the police.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I just want to say to our listeners, like I said earlier, have a cold. I'm sorry if I'm sniffling and grossing you out, but I don't know. Would you rather we took a week off? Just think about that when you think, ew, bitch, quit.
I will edit as many of those out as I can.
I just can hear myself doing it and being like, oh man, this is gross. All right. Kindred's path of nude destruction. Ooh, I like that. Path of nude destruction. That makes me want to write a romance novel.
Yeah.
Had started at the Mojo Grill next door, flipping over tables, banging on windows, as you do, before continuing to the Outback. See, this is the problem with those complexes who have too many chain restaurants. This is the risk you take.
Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing. Florida woman gonna Florida woman.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
you have to prepare accordingly.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in the same way that your competition might have a shorter wait than you, your competition might also, have a Florida woman that's coming for you next. If they go, hey, ma'am, not at the Mojo Grill. This is a classy place. Why don't you bring that shit to Outback?
Kindred was placed in handcuffs where she was taken to a nearby health facility where THC was found in her system.
No. Oh my God. This not the devil's lettuce.
You got to criminalize it. The devil's cabbage.
I mean, Mary Jane makes people do crazy things.
She was later taken to Marion County Jail and charged with aggravated assault and felony criminal mischief and held on a $12,000 bond.
After she was read her rights, Kindred told investigators that she initially went to the Mojo Grill because the owner is not honest. It's unclear what beef the suspect had with the Outback or why she removed her clothes. Oh, so she walked in with clothes on. Okay.
Florida woman, gone Florida woman.
I mean, hey, if a restaurant owner is not being honest, it's up to the consumer.
Yes, this is her enacting a class action lawsuit in IRL. In real life.
She said, I've been yelping for years and no one listens to me. I had to do what I had to do.
I respect it. I respect her.
So at the end of a video, Kindred is saying, "Who holds the button? It was going to be me and Bill Gates and the world was going to end, and you guys don't get it. You're all fucking fools. Wait till you see the sideshow." So that's that.
I mean, it checks out. It was
Go
going
on
to
a
be
naked.
me.
You can't go on a naked rampage somewhere and not bring up Bill Gates. I mean, like, let's be real.
It's true. Why is he so aggravating to a certain sect of people?
It's so weird. Like, 'cause I don't know. Like, why not Jeff Bezos or why not? I think Bill Gates was like the boomers' like biggest problem, and it might have been Steve Jobs if he hadn't have died. I don't know. I really don't
Right.
know. Like Jeff Bezos is our villain, he's like our supervillain, but Bill
Yeah.
Gates is definitely a supervillain to like boomers.
That's I mean, that's a generational difference right there. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Zuckerberg is maybe like Gen X's problem. I don't know. It's tough to say. We got a lot of supervillains these days.
We got a lot of hateable people.
I just
How
feel like
about
Bill Gates isn't the problem.
Yeah, I'm much angrier at Jeff Bezos personally.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it on the podcast, but after he went to space,
Uh-huh.
I had several members of my family be like, "Isn't that so classy that he thanked his employees?" And I looked at them in all earnesty and I was like, his average employee makes $29,000 a year. In no way of thanking them for his roller coaster ride into space. That was the trashiest thing I've ever seen.
Wow. I don't mean to like diminish your point, but is in all earnesty good English?
No, probably not.
Okay. I love you, girl. I just like I'm trying to make us both grow. I think it's in all honesty. Oh, I don't know. Whatever.
Whatever. Let's get into our next story.
Yeah. Ooh. According to the sun.co.uk, a fabulous website. Wait a minute. I tried to book a weekend away with my plus size mates and they said we weren't their type of clientele. Uh-oh.
And that's wait a minute. WEIGHT.
Thank you for the writers of the Sun with their puns.
An event organizer who tried to plan a girly weekend away with her mates was left fuming when she was reportedly told by the hotel manager that she and her plus-size pals weren't the clientele they wanted to attract.
So, activist Miranda Kane, she emailed the Marks Tay Hotel in Colchester earlier this week, which is part of a Best Western chain, and asked if they could host a weekend for plus-size party animals. The manager responded to that email thinking that they were only replying internally and said, "Before I spend any time on this, do you agree that this isn't quite the clientele that we want?" Now, Miranda took that to mean that they didn't want plus size people at their hotel. The manager said, "Oh, no, it's because you said it was party animals, but we are also super embarrassed that we didn't, or that we sent that email to you." What do you think, Erica?
I'm having a really hard time with this because I think about that boutique owner who replied to the girl directly and said, "Hey, she's not cute enough." I don't know. Like,
I don't. I'm always going to be on the side of the plus size woman, but I will say, like, when I read this, I'm like, well, don't call yourself, like, what hotel wants to host people who are calling themselves party animals? But Miranda said that she's always used the tagline plus size party animals and they've never had a problem with it. But like, to me, a hotel owner, you say party animals, I hear you're going to break shit.
Right, exactly. Again, I'm always going to be on the side of like the plus size woman, but I'm having a hard time with this. I mean, the tagline of the hotel is hotels with personality.
Yeah.
So I would think they would attract, a quote, party animal clientele.
I don't know, man. Yeah, totally. But like the Ace Hotel attracts a party animal clientele, but you still can't break shit. You know, I don't know. It's weird. It's like because I feel nervous that this is perhaps kind of in the realm of like a little bit of a cancel culture thing where she was just like, "You don't want us there because we're fat," and it's like, no, you literally called yourself party animals. Like that was problem. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. Like it's bad. Controversial opinion, I guess, but I really don't think that it was because they were plus size. Personally,
Right. Well, part of her itinerary laid out was, bingo, a pub quiz, pool, dinner, and disco in the evenings, but nothing mad. The part that makes me question it on the hotel's part again is on the itinerary, it said things like having 2 hours of the pool to themselves because we're plus size people. To us, going into a pool without feeling like we're being judged is a luxury. So asking for the pool for themselves, that makes me go back on the women's side. I'm very conflicted.
I didn't know that they submitted an entire itinerary.
Yes, they submitted a professional email, showed them business. They weren't, a chancer going, oi, oi, me, and my mates want to come down for a stag do. What's the best you can do?
Did you make that up?
No, that is a quote from the article.
Oh, I was like, whoa. All right. Well, if the itinerary was included and they're saying like karaoke, we want to rent out the pool for like privately, whatever, like then maybe I am thinking that there might be something else to it because it seems like that hotel stood to make a lot of money.
Yeah, close to 20 grand for the weekend or 20 pounds for the weekend. If there's anyone that wants to host us and that wants 20,000 pounds worth of business right after pandemic, we'd love to hear from them, the organizer Miranda Kane said.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of, luckily, we're not alone in our conflictedness because a lot of people are saying, like, it's the party animals thing, bro. Like,
Yeah.
so, hey, man, just bring the tough conversations to your ears every Monday here at Trashy Trashy.
Speaking of tough conversation, let's get into our next story from the irishpost.com.
Gardaí investigate after hearse carrying coffin involved in dangerous high-speed driving incident in Dublin. Whoa.
The Gardaí are investigating after a clip was widely shared on social media showing a series of vehicles, including a hearse, driving dangerously in Dublin.
The video taken by a man traveling in the car behind a hearse. Vehicles could be seen driving at speed, beeping and cheering and veering out of heavy traffic. Man, people love a car chase. And when I say people, I mean myself included.
Oh, same. I'll literally watch one like on the news for
Oh, yeah.
45 minutes to an hour.
You text me that there's a car chase going on. My next question is what channel, and I'm dropping everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
And telling more people about it, too.
Yes, I spread the word.
Oh, absolutely. You have to.
At one point, the footage captures several cars racing through a red light and driving on the wrong side of the road.
So the hearse was understood to be carrying the coffin of Dean McGuire, one of 3 men killed during a high-speed chase involving Gardaí on the N7 last week. Man, this kind of feels like this guy's like purgatory.
Yeah. Well, it feels like something that was written into the will. Like, hey, I live fast and furious. I need you to drive me in my hearse fast and furious style.
If I ever die in a high speed, like however I die, I need you to make my hearse go through the same thing.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Throughout the video, the man filming could be heard shouting, "Go on, Dino," as cars following behind the hearse revved their engines.
Wait, so the cars following behind the hearse must have been going to this guy's funeral, and then the hearse takes off? It must have been in the will. Because otherwise, if I was if I was going to a funeral and I saw the hearse starting to go faster than the rest of us, I'd be like, the fuck is this hearse driver doing?
Yeah.
Where are they going?
I want the longest funeral procession. I want like a dictator has died lengthy funeral procession.
The body on display for 3 days for everyone to go and see it kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, I want public mourning. I want people to be like, I'm taking off work. Why? Well, Erica Curry passed away. And then the boss to be like, oh, I'm going to take off as well. I had no idea. Thank you for letting me know.
I mean, you are iconic.
I am an aspiring icon and my death shall be mourned.
I think when I die, I'll just get cremated, and I think people will be sad. I don't need I don't need anything fancy. I think that
I want a glass coffin.
Yeah, no, I think people will be like, I think it will be truly tragic, and so I think I will live on in my own way.
Yeah,
of people just kind of being at dinner and then just be like, wait, I'm sorry. It's been 10 years and it still gets me sometimes. You know?
That's the dream.
That's
the dream.
I'm playing a long game, you know?
Yeah. Well, this guy was playing the short game in our next story. Let's get into it. From bcctvnews.ca, despite burn bans, BC man tells Mounties he didn't want to mow his lawn, so he set it on fire instead.
Well, what are you going to do?
Honestly, I think lawns are like one of our biggest resource drains, and that is like we use water on grass that we like cut and maintain. Like I find it to be a waste.
Is fire better though?
Oh no. No.
So in Vancouver, a British Columbia man who didn't feel like cutting his grass has been fined more than $1,000 for the fire he started. Mounties on the Sunshine Coast said that they and firefighters were called to a home in the Port Mellon Highway for a report of heavy smoke on Tuesday.
The fire was called in by passengers on a passing British Columbia ferry vessel that could see the fire from the water.
Oh man, narcs.
Freaking narcs.
You're going to have a seaside home and then you should be able to do whatever you want. And then you get called in by a bunch of narcs on a ferry who probably were like just making sure you were okay.
100%. What kills me is that the homeowner was fined about $1,100 under the Provincial Wildfire Act. To me, that just says, oh, it only cost me $11,000 or $1,100 to do this. Great. I'll do it again. If I've got a seaside home, I've probably got lawn money to burn.
I would say, well, I don't know. Maybe we don't know how big this lawn is. Like maybe that's like comparable to getting a gardener.
Exactly. You know, that's like that couple that tore down Joshua trees. Did you hear about them?
No.
They tore down some Joshua trees out in Joshua Tree National Park area. And they only fined them like $12,000 or $18,000, and it's like, oh, okay, exactly. Like that was like setting the bar of, oh, okay, I'll do this again because I know exactly how much it's going to cost me.
Wait, you're saying only 12 to 18,000? That's a lot.
It is, but for the type of like home that they were building, it's a relatively small ratio.
Wow, that's a vibe. You're just like, I want some Joshua trees in my house, so I'm just gonna go take some from the source. That's crazy. There's gotta be another way.
I know. I agree.
I think that this needs to cost what the equivalent to like a gardener is for, you know, a month or whatever. And then it needs to like be more than that. You need to incentivize them to not do it again.
Yeah.
It's like when they fine banks like $300,000 for like fucking over like 70% of people. It's like, no, you need to fine them like 300 billion or something. Otherwise, they're just going to keep fucking doing it. It's a drop in the hat. They don't give a fuck. You can't make more money than it costs to be an asshole.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I got it in a t-shirt. Great.
Yeah. Put that on a t-shirt.
You know. Oh man. I don't got a fucking segue to save my life. I was gonna try too. Do you have one, or should we just go into it?
I think we should just go into it.
All right. I mean, now at least. According to Fox23.com, Tulsa police say woman used a torch to break into a beauty store and steal wigs.
A Tulsa, Oklahoma woman has been taken into custody, accused of using a blowtorch to break into a beauty shop and steal wigs.
That's pretty tight. That's like some secret agent shit to me. I don't know why. I've never seen a secret agent use a blowtorch, but like something about like the idea of like quickly heating up the lock to break it open, like just seems fucking sick.
Yeah. Cecily Draper has been arrested and charged with one charge of second-degree arson and a second-degree burglary charge. Police say Draper used the torch to heat up the glass in the front of A1 Beauty Supply near 51st and Sheridan. Once the glass was broken, Draper allegedly went inside, stuffed wigs into a suitcase, and left.
So, this asshole in Seaside Home in the last story can burn his lawn for $1,100. Meanwhile, this person breaks into a beauty store to steal some wigs, and they get one charge of second-degree arson for an arguably a lot smaller of a fire.
Yeah.
I mean, then again, one of them was in Canada and the other one was in Oklahoma, but still.
Yeah, they don't play around in Oklahoma.
No crime in Oklahoma.
They don't take kindly to crime. I mean, you need some wigs sometimes, you know?
Yeah, like how big of a company is this A1 Beauty Supply? I'm not telling anyone to steal. And I'm certainly not telling anyone to steal from big companies.
No, we would never. But don't steal from mom and pops.
Yeah, don't steal from mom and pops. But like, what's the loss prevention built into A1 Beauty Supply's bottom line is what I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of bottom line, let's get into our next story, again from foxnews.com.
So from Fox News, probably my least favorite website, I'd say.
I would rather take a Fox News article over a Daily Mail article.
You think?
Because they're the equivalent of each other.
Yeah. And we at least like the devil we know, you know?
Yeah, I like the American version of it.
I like the American version of everything.
We're patriotic to the fucking core.
U.S. Okay, anyways. I couldn't even get through it. I didn't want everyone to start chanting while they're listening to this on their drive and get in a crash, you know?
Exactly.
Because I think once people start chanting USA, like, you have to join in. Otherwise, I think you get, like, sent to Guantanamo or something, right?
I'm guilty of starting many a USA chant at university. I
can see that for you.
I was famously patriotic in college.
Famously patriotic, and I believe earlier you said some would consider you having a drinking problem. So I don't know. The Venn diagram, there's a cross.
They don't overlap. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're right. Absolutely not. So Florida man in a bubble-like vessel washes up on the beach. Beautiful. That sounds nice.
Vessel encountered complications after leaving St. Augustine bound for New York, Flagler County Sheriff Office said.
This guy was in a bubble headed to New York?
Yeah.
Was this fucking David Blaine?
Yeah. A Florida man washed ashore inside a bubble-like vessel on Saturday morning after an apparent attempt to walk on water.
Is it David Blaine, though? What? Or at least a magician? I mean, what is it? I'm confused. I'm just kidding. I read the story. I know the answer. So this guy said he told authorities that he set off for New York from St. Augustine. His name was Reza Belushi of Central Florida, and he was attempting to run in his floating bubble to travel up the coast and raise money for charity.
My goal is to not only raise money for homeless people, raise money for the Coast Guard, raise money for the police department, raise money for the fire department, he said. They are in public service and they do it for safety and they help other people.
Reza, I'm not going to tell you what to do here, bro, but you got to pick a lane, you know?
Yeah.
Like the vague charity doesn't work. You need to just pick something and that be what your charity is for. Am I right?
And you know who thinks about the Coast Guard? People who are drowning in the ocean at sea. And that's about it. Like nobody, I feel like they're the forgotten branch. Like, we just don't think about them unless you're stranded at sea.
You know what? Shout out to the Coast Guard.
Honestly, shout out to the Coast Guard.
We're thinking of you.
We got your backs.
And we're not in the water right now.
We're on land, baby.
We're
Land.
on land, baby. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, like, if this guy would have, if he would have said this is an art installation that I'm doing to raise money for homelessness, I would have been like, okay. But then when it's like, and the Coast Guard, you know what, and the police and the fire department, it's like, well, your message is getting lost, my friend. Like, you can care about more than one thing, but I've learned about this when you look and you research how to be an effective activist. Like, one of the things that they suggest is choosing the thing that you're most passionate about so you can give as much energy as possible to that thing. And, like, you still be passionate about multiple things, but like, you're most effective when you're focused on one thing. But like I said, I'm not telling you what to do, Reza,
I wonder if the Coast Guard's the one that rescued him and he just threw that in at the end.
Yeah, and then as he was like, like being taken up on shore, like, and the fire department was there to like make sure he was okay, and then the police were about to arrest him, and he was like, oh, "This was all for you."
This was
I
all
don't
for
know.
you.
Yeah,
As he goes to Coast Guard jail.
What's that like? Is it just a cage underwater being swam around with sharks?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
That's scary. I had a dream about sharks last night.
Really?
Yeah, I had a dream that Target was shooting an ad and there was like sharks under the boat that they were shooting on. I don't know. It's best when people don't share their dreams. I don't know why I did it.
No, it's go on.
No, it's okay. Thanks.
Well, there was a little Law and Order in our last story, and let's get into our next one from lawandcrime.com.
We've got another serial pooper on our hands and trashy.
How is this a common occurrence?
I don't know. I ask myself that all the time when we have stories that are very similar to other ones. I go, oh wow, like we really are just all in this together in a way.
Police urge serial pooper to seek assistance in Indiana.
So an Indianapolis area person known as the pooper by people in the area, they just go around. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm hesitating. I'm trying to get over all the puns in this article. Basically, a person is leaving shit piles on lawns every day and tiny piles of toilet paper.
The problem of an unnamed person plopping on the neighbor's property was persistent last summer. The alleged miscreant's excrement was forced citizens to claim the cleanup chores to capture and cast away the bowel movements.
It's written in alliteration. Like,
this
you
is
see what I'm saying?
Iambic pentameter. I'm having a difficult time with this.
It's not written like English. This is a really hard article. We should have prepared for this better.
I should have summarized.
I mean, hey, sometimes it reads beautifully and it sounds like we're saying it and we're just reporting the news, but this one is fucked up.
So basically there's a serial pooper on the loose. And they say they've captured the unnamed craven culprit, apparently on a doorbell camera video, crapping out on the commons while out on her daily constitutionals.
Like, fuck you, dude. You're just in, like, I didn't even want to talk about that guy pooping. I want to talk about the person who wrote this article who was like, I'm going to blow everyone's fucking minds and, like, come up with every single word that starts with the same letter. Like, no one is called a constable in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
But you're fucking lying. Or daily constitutionals? Hello, writer.
I feel like they had a word minimum that they had to hit.
Yeah.
It's got to be at least 1,500 words, David. It's got to be,
This is so silly.
This is very silly. But they found them. Authorities have not released the suspect's name yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck you to the writer of this.
I mean, what a nightmare. It says some neighbors who appeared on the WTHR surmised for the suspect that a treadmill and a nearby toilet would have been a better option than being trounced by the entire town on account of one's turds. Okay.
Cool.
Right.
Cool. That person went to journalism school.
I don't even know what that means. Like, fuck you. All right. Speaking of fuck you, According to au.finance.yahoo.com, Gold Coast teen wants $20,300 for a puffy Doritos chip.
Riley Stewart, a teenager from the Gold Coast, is hoping someone will buy her a particularly shaped Doritos chip for more than 20,000 Australian dollars.
A 13-year-old was eating a packet of Doritos chips when she stumbled across a particularly unique puffy chip. I was about to eat it and thought I better save it for later. What world are we living in?
She posted a TikTok video of the chip asking whether the chip was valuable. The video has since clocked up to nearly 3 million views.
So she put it on eBay for auction at a starting price of 99 cents. 2 hours later, it went up to 5,000, and 2 days later, it went up to 20,300. She said that she screamed when bids hit 10,000. Bitch, you should be screaming when bids hit $10 for your stupid fucking chip.
Yeah, for a Dorito.
Insane. Things only have the value that we give them, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. But why are we giving this value?
I was explaining cryptocurrency to my father as best I could. And he's like a financial planner and a stock market investor. Like, he gets it. And he's like, I don't understand cryptocurrency. And I was like, money is imaginary. It's like already. It's like whatever we decide it's worth. Like, nothing is, diamonds are an artificial currency. We've got plenty of diamonds. It's just that they're hoarded by one company, so we think they're valuable. It's just, none of it makes any fucking sense why Beanie Babies are worth more money or cryptocurrency.
Pokemon cards now. Pokemon cards are worth more now than they used to be.
None of it's real.
I mean, everything is worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it, I suppose.
Exactly.
Look, I don't know how many valuable chips I've eaten over my lifetime, but I certainly wouldn't take a second glance at a puffier one. I don't even think I look at the chips. I eat them so fast. So maybe that's on me.
Yeah, maybe you've thrown away $20,000 before.
Yeah. Oops.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, girl.
It's time for the dumpster fire of the week.
This comes to us from BBC.com.
Tokyo 2020 Olympics. South Korea TV is sorry for using pizza to depict Italy.
Pizza for Italy, Dracula for Romania, and Chernobyl for Ukraine. They got a lot of funny pictures, sounds like.
Did they just use a gun for America?
I was wondering, I was like, or a cheeseburger, or I mean, there's a lot of good options of just Trump. I don't know.
These were the pictures and captions used by a South Korean broadcaster to depict nations at the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympic Games.
The MBC has since MBC, not NBC, has since apologized for offending viewers after complaints that the visuals were offensive and ridiculous. But the channel said it wanted to make it easier for viewers to understand the entering countries quickly, but it was an inexcusable mistake. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It sucks because it's for me to laugh at this means that I'm laughing at things that are pretty offensive and racist. It's just very silly, I think.
Yes. At a press conference last Monday, the channel's CEO, Park Sang-jae, apologized, saying MBC had damaged the Olympics' value of friendship, solidarity, and harmony. I bow my head deeply and apologize, he said, adding that MBC would be putting in their effort to prevent another incident from happening.
It's just kind of, because I'm looking at the picture. You see the whole Italian team walking in wearing white, green, and red, the colors of their flag. Their shoes have the flags on them. They're waving the flags on it. And it's just a picture, it looks like a home shopping network trying to sell you a pizza on the side. And I just it's just weird. It's a weird look. And then I just can't imagine, I'm dying to see, when the Romanian team shows up and it's just Dracula. I don't know. The way you easily identify something is you just write the fucking country's name and their flag. That's it. There's tons of countries that are competing in the Olympics that I've never like that I don't know where they are on a map, or that maybe I haven't heard of, or
Yeah.
I only think about them every 4 years when they're in the Olympics. Like, you don't need to tell me, like, Ukraine. I don't need to see a picture of Chernobyl to remember that Ukraine is a place.
Right. Well, in Haiti, when their athletes walked into the stadium, the on screen caption described the country as one with an unstable political situation due to the assassination of the president. Like,
Well,
holy shit.
the Syrian team entered, and the caption read, "A civil war that has been going on for 10 years." This is like, honestly, this feels like if you had like your most gossipy aunt trying to like narrate the opening ceremony for you of like, there's Italy, you know what they like,
Pizza.
pizza. Like, or like,
Pizza.
oh, Syria, yeah, they've had that civil war, I'm surprised they showed up. Like, it's
Yeah.
very, it's very weird. They had a piece of salmon for Norway.
Chad was described as the dark heart of Africa.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
And I guess that they've been in trouble for this before. They did the same thing in the opening ceremony for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Like,
They referred to Zimbabwe as a country with a deadly inflation. Come on.
You think we're gonna forget? They're like, okay, it's been 12 years. Let's do the pizza thing again.
Yeah. We paid the fine, but nobody will remember.
People really don't know where Italy is or what Italy is about unless you show pizza.
Show pizza and then a picture of like Lady Gaga doing an impersonation of Madame Gucci.
I can't fucking wait, man. Ooh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited about House of Gucci.
I keep like saying in my house, I go, Father, Son, House of Gucci. And like my partner looks at me like, what? And I'm like, it's not my fault you live under a fucking rock. You know what I'm referencing. It's not my fault that you don't have the algorithm of a woman or a queer person. It's not my fault. Okay?
I do find that movie could be a potential trashy because the descendants of the House of Gucci are very upset about the betrayal, I've heard.
I feel like anything that has too much advertisement is usually bad. So I don't know. I'm like, the cast looks good and everything about it seems like it's going to be good, but the fact that they're advertising it so hard, you don't have to advertise a movie starring Lady Gaga and Adam Driver that much for me to go and see it. So I'm a little nervous. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, same. Oh my God. I'm Father, Son, House of Gucci.
House of Gucci.
House of Gucci. Anyway.
It's so exciting.
I'm getting chills.
Yeah. I shaved my legs this morning in the shower. It's growing back.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
What are you hoarding this week?
Okay. So I wasn't going to hoard lay flat beds because I thought that was just like so gross and privilegey, but I am going to hoard a king size bed.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have been sick, as I've said, and as you've probably been able to hear. And so, like, when I don't, like, do a lot of physical activity, my hips get really, really tight. And I just, like, have a hard time, like, sleeping and stuff. So last night I was experiencing, like, a lot of hip tightness. And I was stretching before bed or whatever. But, like, once we got into bed, I still was just, like, not comfortable. And I was able to like do full body stretches without disturbing him. Like, if he would have turned around, he would have been like, what on earth are you doing? It looks like you're trying to give birth. But like, I had the room. A king size bed is a wonderful thing. You can sleep with another person who you love or who you at least are comfortable sleeping with, and you never have to touch them. And you can do a whole fucking set of yoga if you want.
I was about to say, it sounds like you're doing yoga on your side of the bed.
Well, I mean, I just like, my hips were so tight, but it was just nice that like my bullshit he was still able to go to sleep because we have this big fucking bed. It's great. I love it. And it's gotten to a point where like when we like look for hotels or Airbnbs and stuff to book, like we think twice before committing to something that has something smaller than a king size bed. And granted, my partner's like 6'4", so like
Yeah.
he also, his little tootsies hang off anything that isn't.
Aw.
But he had a queen size bed before before we started dating. I was the thing that pushed him to get that king size, and now it's hard to go back.
I have a very nice bed at home, but it's a queen, and I feel like a peasant.
Do you have a king size bed right now? Or what do you mean by at home?
Like I currently have a queen size bed.
Oh,
and
word.
I feel like a peasant.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm fine.
Consider upgrading. You know, it's what is it? A 30-year life is what they say. I don't know. Is it? It's probably true. What are you hoarding?
I'm hoarding a show by Mike White on HBO Max called White Lotus.
Woo!
It is an exploration. It's several vignette. It's several families traveling to what is essentially the Four Seasons in Maui, but it is like an examination of like white privilege and wealth and assholes and the dichotomy between like the staff and these guests. And it is so fucking funny and so good. And there's a mystery element because it's one of those shows that starts at the end and then they flash back to the beginning. So no, not trying to spoil anything, but it's good. It's real good. I
gotta watch it. So many people have been recommending it. And to a point where I'm curious, you didn't recommend this last week, did you?
No.
Wow. That's how many people have been recommending it to me. So I gotta watch it. I mean, I'm in sick all weekend. I'll do it this weekend.
Yeah. There's only like 4 or 5 episodes out. So they're an hour long. It's an easy binge.
Man, it is so hard for me to adjust to schedules of like when shit's not all out and I can't watch it all because I find myself obsessing looking for the next episode. Like, I'm like, what fucking day does it come out? And then just waiting and waiting and waiting and like checking every day as if I don't know that. I don't know. It's maybe something for me to look inward about.
That's like, I was playing poker last night and I kept checking my hands to see as, the flop and the river and the turn happen. It's like, it's 2 cards. You can easily memorize them. But for some reason, I need to like double check that I don't have a flush. Let me just peep these cards, see if they've changed in the last 30 seconds. Nope. Still gonna lose.
Yeah, I would venture to say that has something to do with our a need for immediate things has then like fucked up our short-term memory.
100%. 100%. Are you throwing anything away?
Yes. I was in between a couple things, but I'm going to land on this one. I don't fucking need a work phone. Like, okay. I'm throwing out a work phone. It's fucking silly to walk around with 2 cell phones. Now, do I see the appeal of having a phone number that's different that not everyone can access? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to have 2 fucking iPhones charged at all time, and like one of them I barely use, but like if I miss a call on it, then it's the fucking end of the world. Like, ugh. And it gets my work email, so it's like I don't want to have the sound on. I don't know. It's so inconvenient. I understand how stupid I sound and privileged I sound that I even work in a position where I would have a work phone, but there's got to be another way. There's got to be a call forwarding or just something else because I don't like having 2 phones at once. It's very silly.
My dad always used to have 2 cell phones, one work phone and one home phone or cell phone. And he would keep them in the front pockets of his overalls. And it looked very silly.
Yeah, like I don't use my work phone enough to justify having it on me. But like maybe that'll change once we're like I have to go back in the office or I don't know because like every little thing that I get like my little fucking all the programs that we use to message each other and like email and Slack and all that shit like I get it on my personal phone and I don't need to. I guess I could like stop. I don't know. This is why I want to throw it out, because it's like it's just stupid, and it makes me think too hard about the way to do it easily.
Right.
So
Yeah.
get the fuck out of my face, work phone.
Get out.
What are you throwing out?
I'm throwing away psychics.
Oh.
I don't think so. I don't think you know me. I don't think you are given divine sight. I don't think that what you're telling me is accurate, but now it's going to somehow influence me. Because of what you've told me in the future, the future. It's like, was that always the destiny, or is that, do I have autonomy to change it? I think it's a hooey. I think it's a hoax and a waste of money. And I just don't think so, psychics. I just don't think.
Are you translating this into like any sort of love of crystals or tarot cards or things like that I know that you have had in the past?
No, I do believe that things like that have an energy because we believe in them. But I don't believe in psychics anymore.
I think I get what you're saying, and I think I would be on board with that, because you're going to take your own meaning from something like a tarot card. Mm-hmm. And you're going to take your own meaning with that, and while it might influence you, you are the one who created that influence, so you're influencing yourself. Whereas when you're dealing with a psychic, that is another person directly influencing you.
Yeah, I'm just over the concept of it, and I've had 2 psychics tell me something like the same thing that I don't believe, and I'm like, nope. And one was in New Orleans, and one was in what happens to be my neighbor now. Before I lived here, I went to do one of those like $10 palm readings at midnight. And then the lady was like, oh, I'm closed, but my sister's open. And so I went into a woman's home at midnight on a Sunday. This was like 9 years ago. And she had her grandkids playing like Nintendo while she did a psychic reading at the kitchen table with me. And I was like, this doesn't feel like the vibe I was going for. Like, I don't want just a reading at your kitchen table while your grandchildren stare at me. Anyway, where can the people find you?
At Cass Cardiness at Instagram and Twitter, and on the Nooner podcast on the Smodcast Radio Network. Where can they find you, Erica?
At Iconic Erica Curry on Instagram and at Gilly Gal on Twitter. And you can find this podcast at Trashy Trashy Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or at our website, www.trashytrashypodcast.com. And you can also find us on this nifty little service called Buy Me a Coffee. And that is coffee spelled ko-fi.com/trashytrashypod. And what you can do is you can donate to support us and help keep this podcast running. It helps us pay for hosting fees. It helps us pay for the website. It helps us pay for, things like Zencaster, the way we record. But you can go to ko-fi.com/trashytrashypod and donate to this podcast.
That's nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
As always, thank you so much for listening. We hit 100 reviews in the iTunes charts.
Woohoo!
That's because of listeners like you. And we want to thank you so much.
We love you, trash cans.
Hey, Cass.
What's going on, girl?
Stay garbage.
You stay garbage, girl.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.